Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on the Supernatural Show. I want to clarify a few things for y'all guys that you need to know. You need to hear what I'm going to try to explain to you. A couple of things, okay? It's very important. It has to do with a lot of the things that are going on in the skies that people are seeing and recording and so on. We've all been seeing it, right? And it has to do with several things. It has to do, well, let me just get into it and explain it, okay guys? Now, I put out a video a little while back that actually came from another guy's channel called Scanner Guy, and he purchased a really good camera for being able to see at night, and what he did was put it out and record, and he left it out there for a couple of hours, and he was able to catch some very good footage. Some of the footage was of showing a Starlink train, as it's been dubbed, okay, moving across the sky, right? Now, many of us have seen those, but in this footage you can also see other little things flying around in different directions. What are all those? Okay, they're Starlink, okay, but that's not the big revelation, not at all. Okay, let's move forward in the footage over here maybe, okay, and this footage has been sped up substantially. Let's see, how many times did he say he sped it up? 64 times the speed, okay, so he wasn't seeing this in real time. This is 64 times the speed, and you see all these things flying up and they're lighting up in the sky. Let me explain to you what's going on here, okay? This is right after, about an hour after sunset, okay? You might call it a twilight or whatever, whatever the term is for that period of time after sunset. I was seeing these here at my home, which is what led me to hunt down this video, and this is what I do, okay, for y'all guys. Now, what you're seeing, because the sun has just set, as they call it, and it's now dark where this camera's at, but up in the sky the sun rays are still hitting the Starlink satellites, okay? So in the evening time, when you're seeing this kind of a thing, but way slowed down, obviously they're coming through at a periodic rate, okay, and you're seeing all these things, and I'm going to explain more because this isn't all of what's going on. Bear with me here. But when you're seeing these things moving through the sky like this, and they're coming across, and they'll get basically about right above you and they'll disappear. What it is, what you're seeing is you're seeing a Starlink satellite. Now, this is the ones that will look like they're coming up from the horizon, like you're seeing in this video. See how all these are like coming up from the horizon? Okay. And they're coming from other directions too, but what it is the angle of refraction of the sun's light reflecting off of the Starlink antenna arrays. And I'm going to show you all these things here in just a minute. The angle of refraction is perfect for you being down on the ground and you're in the dark, but the satellites are high enough up that they're still in the light, and as they're approaching your location, what's happening is you're seeing a refraction, a reflection of sunlight off of the satellites, okay? That's just one of the phenomenon that's going on, okay? So when you see these ones that are coming in like this, like that right there, and then it'll get up here close to above your head and it'll disappear. See how all these are disappearing right up at the top of the screen? Watch. Watch that one disappear. That'll be disappearing too. Gone. Watch them. They'll disappear when they get towards the top above the screen. The reason why they're disappearing up there is because the angle of reflection or refraction is no longer a proper angle for the light that's being reflected off of the satellites to meet your eye. Okay, so they're looking like they're disappearing. Technically, they're not. The sun is still shining on them and reflecting off of them, but from your angle, you can no longer see them. And that angle, the angle that you can no longer see them at, is almost straight above your head. It's just off of straight up, or you might call it 90 degrees from the horizon, right? If you understand that. So that's why you can see them coming from the distance, and they stay lit up. They stay almost in an exact straight line. Watch how these things are they're following almost a straight line with a slight arc, slight turn one way or the other. The reason is because that's how Starlink moves. Let me show you a live map. Okay, this is a live map of Starlink and where they're at, which is everywhere. As you can see, they're everywhere. Over Russia, over China, but yet these are supposedly enemy countries, right? Over Iran, over Saudi Arabia, over everything, over Australia. Okay, and what this is, well, it is a lot of things, but what you're looking at is, do you remember the movie Terminator? And it was called Skynet. Well, there's your Skynet right there. A hexagonal shaped Skynet. Okay. What they're doing is they're doing a lot of things. But what I want to show you today is another thing, is this. Is Starlink controlling the drones that people are seeing up in New Jersey and in California and in Canada and in Florida, South Carolina, in Australia, in South America, in Europe? Is Starlink controlling them? Oh no, Starlink is for Wi-Fi and for internet. It's not for controlling drones. Well, actually Russia is using Starlink to control its drones, and Ukraine uses Starlink to control its drones. Both sides are using Starlink. Now, Russia is supposed to be the enemy, or an enemy, kind of, to the United States, right? Yet they're using the Starlink technology to control their drones. Says it right here. Defense blog, CNN, Economic Times, Interesting Engineering, the New York Times, the Washington Post. It's all saying the same thing. Now, if they're controlling these drones, who do you think is controlling the drones that we're seeing flying around all over the other places in the world? Wouldn't be Starlink, would it? I'd bet the house on it that they're using Starlink and AI. For instance, like, what's the name of that company that the Vance is a member of, and Peter Thiel is a member of? Palantir. Palantir is, let me pull up Palantir. Palantir is the all-seeing eye. I don't know if that's spelled exactly right. I think I got it. Palantir, and you can see in their logo, is a crystal ball. Let's see if I see one of their logos that's bigger here. Doesn't say it. Okay. But they've got different programs, one called Apollo, one called Gotham, like, Gotham from Batman, and another one called Foundry, and it's just insane. But this is, Palantir is AI software. You see AIP up here, AIP for developers. This is all AI programming is what this is. And they're using this to run the wars in Ukraine, Russia, Israel, all these places. These drones are doing all of the majority of the attacking and doing all this. It's all being run by Palantir and Starlink. They're all working together. And I don't know what to tell you, but that's just the truth. Can I prove it? I can show lots of anecdotal evidence, but of course I can't prove it, just like you can't prove anything either. You can't prove me wrong. You can speculate, so can I, but I guarantee you I'm right. Now, I called Palantir a crystal ball, right? Because it's the all-seeing AI or mind of the beast, basically, is what we're talking about. Let's see if I can find an image that I want to show you. This was Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Here we go. Let's see, I think I can open this one up. So here's your crystal ball, right? This is from the Game of Thrones. Now, do you know, or was this Lord of the Rings, actually, not Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings. Now, guess what this is called, the crystal ball, in the Lord of the Rings? It's called Palantir. That's what this is called. They call it that in the movie. Okay? So, unfortunately, I'm not just making this stuff up. You can see here what I'm talking about. Now, some of you will remember, so here's another example. Okay? Some of you will remember well, I'll just show you. Some of you will remember this. And some of you are just going to laugh and discredit because you believe this man here is your God. No, I don't believe he's my God. What are they doing here? This was a meeting where they got together and all the powers around the world come together and they all placed their hands on this Palantir, this crystal ball. This was an anti-terrorism meeting, meaning anyone that's against what they're doing or what they want to do is a terrorist. That's what it's being labeled as, or what all of us, anybody who disagrees, is being labeled as. So this Palantir crystal ball that Trump and many others put their hands on, and I know as soon as I say that this guy isn't anything but their God, it's going to make people mad, right? But they're symbolizing their control of the world like a God. Because what does Lucifer want to be like? He wants to be like the Most High. So he will copy them. So what are they doing? How are they copying them? Well, let me show you a few things. This is what their satellites, when they're stacked in the launch rocket, this is what they look like. This is all of the arrays that we see, the light reflecting off in the skies. This is what we're looking at. Let me pull up, though, however, another image here that I want you to see. Now, I have told and explained to many of you, not all of you see or hear all my videos, but I have explained a lot of this before. Now what you're looking at here is a photo of a Starlink ground station. And what they are is white balls, bright white and round all about. That is the image of the plasmoids, as some of you are calling them. Long time ago, when I first started trying to understand all this, I called them plasmians before I realized what they truly were. Angels, because this is another thing that's going on in the heavens right now, is people are seeing something that doesn't do this. It doesn't. Where'd my video go? They don't continue to move in a straight line and then just vanish when the refracted angle is not working for your eye any longer. What plasmoids will do is they will sit in the sky, and actually they're angels, and what they're doing is they're trying to copy God in every way they can, symbolically and functionally. They want to be able to see everything and know everything that's going on everywhere, and they don't have the manpower to do this. But with AI, artificial intelligence, it has the ability to do it. It can see everything that's going on everywhere, and therefore you have your Palantir crystal ball. That is the AI. You understand? I hope you understand it. I really do. Now, the reason why they made these balls in this shape, bright white and round all about, was in order to copy, where'd it go? Right here. Copy the image of an angel or a star, which is bright white and round. Okay? I know some of you are not going to be able to comprehend some of this stuff, but I'm going to tell you anyways, because you need to hear it. So let me pull up, let's go back to Google. Let's pull up well, actually, let's just pull up this. Let's pull up this map right here. With this many satellites functioning all around the world at one time, or across the world, you didn't know that Lord of the Rings was based on the author Tolkien, or whatever his name was, that wrote the book and wrote the book that started it out, right? His world was actually a flat world. Yeah, that's a whole nother subject to get into, but anyways, these satellites, these Starlink, see, they're calling it a star because stars are angels. And I know some of you are not going to get this. It took me a long time to get it, so I'm not looking down upon you. I'm trying to bring you new information. I'm simply telling you the truth, what it is, and it's going to take time for you to realize that my words were true. Some of you, and I hope y'all guys, the ones that understand, will leave a comment confirming you understand that angels are stars, and that some of the videos that we're seeing out there of people recording things that appear out of nowhere, they'll sit there a few seconds and disappear. Sometimes it's multiples of them. Sometimes it's even like a swarm of them. And they're angels. I'm not telling you whether they're good or bad, but they're angels. They're not aliens. That's all nonsense. Okay? So here's your prison. Here's your grid prison. And it pretty much about, not every state, but most, there are ground stations. Like here in South Carolina, a ground station. It's got 8 antennas, just like the one I showed you just a few minutes ago. And the different antennas are pointing in all directions at all times And what's amazing too is that what was I going to say? Oh well, a lot of things amazing about it. Now let me show you a few more things here, okay? This is the availability map of where they have Starlink officially rolled out, where you can purchase their systems around the world. Okay, now in Russia it doesn't show anything, right? In Ukraine it says see Starlink facts and questions. We know Ukraine is using it. I just showed you the articles saying Ukraine is using it to control their drones. I also showed you the articles saying Russia's using it to control their drones. It's going to be the same thing in every country. With us, what they're doing right now, this is, you might say it's a beta test, okay? In the United States and in other places where they're being seen all around the world, it's a beta test, because what we're dealing with here is Skynet, basically out of the Terminator. And they're slowly tightening the noose is what they're doing. And I'm wanting you guys to be aware of it. I'm not wanting you guys to be fearful necessarily, because that's not going to be to your advantage or anybody's advantage. Okay, this is just another website. You can just Google Starlink Live Map or Starlink Interactive Map, and you can pull them up and you can see all these different satellites. And one thing you can do for sure is you can go on like this map here, which is satellite-map.space, and you can watch and see when these satellites are close to you or passing close over you. And if you go outside about an hour after sunset, you're going to see them coming over, and it's going to prove to you what I've said about what these things are that we're seeing in these videos like this, and what many people are seeing now at nighttime. The thing is they've gotten so many drones up there now that it's impossible not to see them after sunset. Okay, about an hour after sunset. Here's the Google answer to can Starlink satellites communicate with drones. Yes, Starlink satellites can communicate with drones, allowing them to transmit and receive commands even in remote areas like anywhere in the world with limited terrestrial network access, making them particularly useful for drone operations in challenging environments like war zones or areas with poor infrastructure. This capability has been demonstrated by the Ukraine military using Starlink to control surveillance and combat drones during the conflict with Russia. But yet, Russia is also using the Starlink to control their drones. See, Russian fitted SpaceX Starlink on Shahad 136 drones. Okay. So, let's see if I've got most everything kind of covered. Basically what they've got, guys, what you see like in this image is these are basically cell towers in the heavens, is basically what they are. So now when you see a Starlink train like this, and then you also go outside an hour after sunset and you're seeing these things cruising up from the horizon coming across, and they'll disappear close to being, when you're looking straight up, not quite straight up, they'll disappear slightly before that. They'll be so many minutes apart. Okay, probably somewhere between 1 to 3 minutes apart, and they'll be flying over your head again, just like you can see here in this live map. Okay, let's see what else I got here. I know I have a couple more interesting things I want to show you. Another thing that they've done recently with the Starlink satellites is they have started putting, here in the outlined red box, they've installed lasers. That's what these are said to be, lasers. What they are, they may be lasers, but I bet you what they also are is they have the ability to project holographic images. Okay? See, they have them on all corners of the satellites. You see? These satellites are layered here. When they launch, they all separate. See here, they're all stacked like that. You can see, if you look in real close, you can see what they're calling the lasers, the little black circles. Those are the Project Bluebeam type of holographic laser devices. Do you think they would just have cheap lasers on here? Or do you think that they would likely have the best holographic lasers available? Have you ever seen a laser create a hologram? You ever been to a disco club? Those are the cheap ones. Imagine what they can do when the budget is unlimited, because this budget is unlimited. And they're also launching these other cubicle shaped satellites as well. And God only knows what these guys are doing. And if you think about SpaceX and some of the names and things that it uses, like SpaceX is, they call them, their image or on some of their stuff, like for the rocket and their space capsule, is called the Dragon, right? Isn't that strange? Sounds kind of biblical, don't it? The Dragon. And then, how many heads did the Dragon have? He had 7 heads. Well, how many seats are in the Starship, the SpaceX Starship that they're creating, the Starship, the Angel ship? How many heads did the Dragon have? He had 7. How many seats are in the Starship? 7. Right? Elon even wore a couple of years ago a dragon costume to Halloween, right? These guys know exactly what they're doing. They're literally fulfilling biblical prophecy, and at the same time imprisoning the world doing it. It's been done before, but it's being done again now. And I wanted to make sure y'all guys are aware of that. Let's see, make sure I covered everything here before y'all guys go anywhere. I am not kidding about this stuff. It's real. I hope you can see it. I hope this helps you and makes you aware of really what's going down here. And last thing, guys, I am in just a continuous financial crunch because YouTube crushes my videos down, and I need any help that y'all guys can continue to provide for my channel and for my work, because you just can't make a living. Even though I've been doing it 15 years, it's almost impossible to make a living. And if it weren't for y'all guys sending me a few dollars here and there, there's no way I'd be able to continue to do this. So I'm asking you to please consider maybe becoming a Patreon member, or making a small donation every once in a while. I really need your help, your continued support. With that being said, I guess I'll let you go for now. The links to all that are down below. There's many options, including a P.O. box. Okay? And it's a new P.O. box. Make sure you don't use the old one. If you do, I'll end up getting it. It'll just take a month before I'll get it. Anyways, I love you. I hope this has helped clarify a few things for you. I know there's a lot more going on, but I'm telling you here who is controlling the drones, who is causing a lot of the light show right after it gets dark. I'm also telling you that there are real, literal angels being seen around the world. I've seen them. They've come to me so many times and shown me a lot of their attributes of how they behave. It's how I was able to realize that what I was seeing at nighttime recently is starlink, because I know how angels normally present themselves, and it's similar to starlink, bright white light in the sky, but they don't move continuously on a path like that. They'll streak, but when they do, they'll leave a streak of light behind them. It's like sparks. I've seen it close up, right above my head, 25, 30 foot above my head. Seen one fly over me one night. I never can say everything I want to in a video, but I hope that this helps clarify some for you guys as to what's going on. I love you and thank you for your continued support.